Our moon, as small as it was compared to Earth, has 5 times the mass of Pluto.
The James Webb Space Telescope suddenly captured people's attention. We know that we could have to change the history of the entire universe. The dwarf planet Pluto is the solar system's farthest object. This region of the Kuiper Belt is home to hundreds of thousands of tiny planets and asteroids. Originally thought to be the 9th planet in the solar system, Pluto was named after the Roman god of the Earth. However, Pluto's reputation declined in 2006. Our knowledge of the universe has grown significantly over the last few decades, and we now have a firm grasp on how the world works, what makes it up, and if it is possible, take over the future of humanity. But there may be more to discover about the stars in our galaxy. Which mystery about Pluto did the James Webb Space Telescope finally solve? Does he not understand life? Is there an ocean in it? Join us as we explore the amazing and mysterious discoveries made by Pluto's James Webb Space Telescope. Nobody realized that its moon was the smallest in the solar system. Its slanted, elliptical orbit is not irritating to anyone. As strange as Pluto is, it's our insanity. It is sufficiently simple for children to comprehend. Many adults would consider her situation challenging. Not surprisingly, the public was furious when Pluto was named a star 15 years ago. After the International Astronomical Union revised its definition of a planet, Pluto was removed from the list. According to the alteration process, the Earth must have 3 characteristics. It must revolve around the Sun. Pluto failed the 3rd and final test, making it a minor planet. Everyone thought that any massive object orbiting the sky was either the Earth or the Moon when Galileo first glimpsed Jupiter via a telescope in the 1600s. When astronomers discovered the rocks that we now call asteroids in the 19th century, they also called them planets. At first, Pluto was considered a planet. He currently works at Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona. Tombaugh immediately reported his findings to the inspector. The words, "I've located you, Planet X," were said. Tombaugh said there is a 9th planet beyond Neptune that is thought to orbit the Sun. In 1992, an object was spotted outside of Pluto's orbit that was just a 10th of its width. Since then, some 2,000 solid objects have been found in the Kuiper Belt, the coldest region beyond the solar system. There could be more. How are these strange planets related to Earth? Why had they woken up? The origins of the planet suddenly baffled astronomers. In 2005, he discovered the first object in the Kuiper Belt that seemed to be larger than Pluto. When the Sun and planets were formed, these ices were formed. If Pluto is the 9th planet, then Xena should be the 10th, according to Brown. But if Xena doesn't deserve to be Earth's satellite, then neither does Pluto. The inquiry was conducted during the International Astronomical Union convention in Prague. After much discussion, the revised global definition was put to a vote on the last day of the August meeting. Xena and Pluto were classified as minor planets. Eris, the Greek goddess of conflict, is today known as Xena. Given how important it has been in changing our understanding of the Sun, its name seems logical. Articles are published and updated instantly. Many geoscientists, especially those researching Pluto, haven't changed their approach, though. There are good reasons why the International Astronomical Union's definition of a planet is still up for debate. Researchers read a great deal of books and articles to gain this expertise. Newspapers from hundreds of years ago can be found. They clarify the several interpretations of world that scientists and the general public employ for a number of ambiguous purposes. This may be seen in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Both Pluto and Ceres were categorized as planets upon their discovery in 1801. Ceres is apparently losing its status as a planet as more objects are found in the asteroid belt. By the late 19th century, astronomers found that Ceres had hundreds of neighbors. According to legend, Ceres lost her worldly dignity when she vanished from view. Ceres and Pluto share the same fate. Now, Meyer's team admits this isn't true. Up to the 20th century, Ceres and other asteroids were still considered planets or even asteroids. A 1951 scientific journal article said that the sun is known to be surrounded by thousands of planets, but it's important to remember that the majority of these planets are asteroids, which can be as small as a city block or as large as Pennsylvania. They were seen from the plane for the first time. At the time, the planets still seemed to be among the largest asteroids, but many of the smaller ones are distinct. This proves that they are not smaller than the larger planets. What about the moon, you ask? Up to the 1920s, scientists called it a planet or subplanet. Interestingly, despite scientific evidence to the contrary, the moon is still referred to be a planet. This shift in perception is ascribed to non-scientific media such as astrological almanacs. Planetary alignments serve as the basis for the indications in these works. According to astrologers, it is easy to understand why the sky has so few planets. Since 1960, the word lost has made a comeback in the domain of education, encompassing the moon. In short, the concept of Earth was not developed by the IAU. Over time, the definition of the term has evolved considerably, so it will change again if necessary. How would your life change if there were hundreds or thousands of planets in the universe? Who are these people who remember all of this? What should we include in our lunchbox? But Mill feared that focusing just on the 8 planets would prevent people from learning more about the world. After all, one's interpretation of the world's meaning may just be subjective. The dwarf planet has nitrogen cliffs that look like the wild Norwegian shore, and methane ice flakes as tall as homes. Earth is full with frozen volcanoes higher than the Himalayas and more fissures than the Grand Canyon. The image captured by the plane's camera, which appeared to show a huge heart orbiting the Earth, stunned millions of fans across the world. The catastrophe had occurred 8 years prior. Nevertheless, they see the world in a new way. Because of its speed of 32,300 miles per hour, New Horizons could only take accurate pictures of Pluto's side that faces the sun when it was closest to the dwarf planet. For a while, one of them had emerged from the shadows. After studying close-ups from the days before departure, scientists are now looking at images of the plane's opposing half, or one side. Despite their low resolution, these images provide a realistic representation of the terrain with up to 1 kilometer of detail. This is 250 times greater than images taken by the Hubble Space Telescope while in Earth's orbit. Through the analysis of hundreds of images, scientists are discovering new information about this dynamic ecosystem. These findings bring up questions concerning how particles from the sky freeze to form the Earth's surface, and if the oceans are coated in ice. Statistics even support the idea that life may survive on a frigid Earth. For example, skyscraper-like ice cubes that were recently found on Pluto's far side now appear to surround the planet. This makes its origins one of the most mysterious of the small planets. There is no expiration date on this gift. In the end, the Hubble Space Telescope assisted researchers in finding information about space at a 310-kilometer resolution in 1996. The images, however blurry, show a body that resembles a planet and has a density higher than Earth and other solar system planets. In July 2015, New Horizons detected a heart-shaped star north of the equator, confirming Pluto's power. Sputnik Planitia, a frozen lake encircled by enormous glaciers and situated in Pluto's left ventricle, is now known to significantly impact Pluto's energy. As the sun heats the plains, pulses of melted ice rise into the sky and then fall again at night. Moreover, the heartbeat may beat Pluto. Francis Nemo, an Earth scientist at the University of California at Santa Cruz, and his colleagues made an odd observation about Sputnik Planitia. Charon, the planet's largest moon, was seen almost directly above Pluto in the first image of Pluto that was sent to Earth immediately after it was taken. Usually, there is a 5% probability of an accident. Instead, simulations suggest that the bottom began to rise naturally after the basin formed. When nitrogen in Pluto's atmosphere condenses and freezes, ice craters are created. Heavy lifting has resulted in Pluto's current connection with more water and ice. Some of the best evidence is found in the haphazardly arranged hills, fissures, and plains across from Pluto's Sputnik plains. Scientists believe the seismic sweep was triggered by a collision between a comet or asteroid that passed over Mars, Mercury, and Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. These earthquakes fracture surfaces until they finally collide close to the horizon, much like Pluto's icy moon Charon. Oliver White, a geologist who examined the remote location's geology but was not involved in the study, said the features were similar to those seen elsewhere in sunlight. White pointed out that the picture was smaller, though. Most other scientists agree as well. Scientists have long theorized that Pluto's water began to cool and finally froze after it created. Eventually, radioactive decay in its rocky core produces enough heat to disintegrate it. When ice melts, it shrinks and ripples the surface. If this is true, the final images will show Pluto's face with its skin and stretch marks. However, New Horizons only captured images of the cracks. This suggests that the dwarf world seas were formerly liquid, but are now partially frozen. For example, pictures of Pluto's far side show a huge crater the same height as the nearby Earth. It has now gotten so far that it covers the whole dwarf planet from north to south. Similar to how the East African rift system divides countries in half, this rift system divides continents in half. Unlike rifts on Earth, rifts on Pluto are not evidence of continental movement, but rather resemble scars from frozen, expanding oceans. Given how old the fractures are, it appears that the waters rapidly cooled after being exposed to the environment. The marine environment will thrive there if such is the case. The reddish-brown complex biological material is created in a lab by exposing it to radiation from cosmic rays and the solar wind, among other sources. This might thus happen on a planet like Pluto. Additionally, ammonia may mix to form molecules like the bases in DNA and RNA that are essential to life. One important indication that Pluto could be a rich source of chemical compounds is its closeness to red ammonia ice. This idea implies that Earth may survive if life were introduced to Pluto, even though the majority of Earth scientists do not think that life began there. Seek out life. They also led to a great deal of conflict. Scientists were shocked to see ice slabs the size of skyscrapers in the far east of the near side. The initial images returned by the James Webb Space Telescope show the ridges perfectly balanced and lifted into the sky like a blade, sometimes rising more than a mile high, or almost 3 times the height of the State Department in New York City. They can go up to 19 miles. Trying to find your way around this area would be a nightmare. The blade-like dirt is clearly present across the region and resurfaces toward the western boundary, despite the lack of detail in the current map. They are one of the greatest mysteries of Pluto, since they pass through 3 times, from its far side to its near side. Transit, but no one knows exactly how they began. Like frost, methane in the atmosphere is believed to harden and fall to the ground. These are most likely fragments of methane ice that have been broken down by exposure to sunlight. Because of the strong ridges that reflected smaller-scale Andean patterns, a number of experts proposed the second idea. Penitent rock is only a few meters tall and grows in South American altitudes. It is thought that light contributes to the development of bravery, since the good-hearted person faces the sun and is raised close to the equator, where solar radiation is maximum. Sublimation, the process of creating teeth like grooves and ridges, is believed to be fueled by sunlight. The geography and climate of dwarf planets. The power of human understanding and our never-ending quest for knowledge are demonstrated by Pluto's past. At the same time, researchers will revise existing safety regulations to better reflect actual conditions. Their objective is to replicate Pluto's atmosphere and oceans as nearly as possible in a laboratory environment. The James Webb Space Telescope will directly target the star. Despite Webb's inability to take high-resolution images of Pluto, it is still possible to use longer wavelengths to study unexpected objects. We now think Pluto will answer our age-old question, are we alone? Remember to click on the video on your screen while you're here to view further fascinating videos about the location.